Q171 quantizer module. Very simple to use, surprisingly powerful. This tutorial is in two parts. The first part is very quick and gives you what you need to know for Lab 6. And then I'll be clear when that's over. And then right after that, I keep going for a little while for people who are interested in more information, more power about what it does. So first of all, just the basics. When you come to this, you should have that top switch set into the center position, at least at first. And when you do that, what's going to happen is this. It effectively removes those bottom two switches. What that means is that you feed a continuously changing voltage into the input of any one of the three channels. And what comes out, instead of changing continuously, will snap to the nearest value of each white or black key, which is exactly what a MIDI keyboard itself does. It's already quantized, right? The only other thing you need to know for Lab 6 is that once you're using gate outputs from different sources, one of those sources will be the gate output of the quantizer. And what you'll find is that you will have been using a different source before that's sending actual gates, and you'll have a sound, and if it's going doo-doo-doo-doo like that, when you switch to this, it's actually going to sound like it's not working. It's going to go because even though it says gate, this is putting out a trigger. So the trigger is there and gone before the envelope generator can finish its stages. So all you will do is increase the release time of the envelope generator when you're using the quantizer gate output as your gate/trigger source. That's all you need to know for Lab 6 unless you want to know the additional technical details of what this does and things you can do with it. Still not too long, worth listening to if you're interested. Okay, so you hung around to take the blue pill instead of the red one. So what will happen if you take that top switch and you turn it either to the left or right setting? These become active. On the left, these switches affect channel 1 only, 2 and 3 stay chromatic. If you make the switch to the right, all three channels are affected by the switches. If you put this up in scale, that means instead of a 12-note chromatic between octaves, it will be an 8-note scale. This is a 3-position switch that actually has 4 settings, which is really pretty cool. Notice the arrows here. If you're up in the top in the major setting and you switch to the center from the top, you're coming down, you get augmented. If you're in the bottom and you switch to the center from the bottom, you get diminished. I'm not going to go into theory, but here's just a quick bullet point for you. Triads are what build these. A major third with a minor third on top is a major chord. A minor third triad on the bottom with a major third on top is a minor chord. A major third on top of a major third is augmented, and a minor third on top of a minor third is demented. We used to call them augmented and demented chords, okay? Back to this, if this is playing, let's say it's a minor scale, and you just switch it down to triad, it's immediately going to go from the scale to root third fifth. This is really convenient. You can go back and forth, major to minor, and the only thing that would change would be whether your third is flat or not. If you switch down to root and fifth, you only get the root and fifth, which works all the time for everything. And of course, there is one of the 4 settings. Some of you know, others will find out that you switch into, and the 5th is flatted, which sounds sour and interesting at the same time. So the bottom line is that when the sequence is playing through here, as long as the top switch is not in the center, you can play these switches live and really make it sound like a lot of things are changing. Here's the last thing I'm going to mention about this, and this is an advanced function. Notice that there's a gate or trigger in. So if you don't have anything plugged into here, this thing will quantize whenever it senses the voltage change between the interval that's set by these switches. If you plug something into the gate in, it breaks that and it won't quantize until and unless it receives a gate, which means you can feed a trigger pattern into these gate or trigger inputs and create a pattern of when it quantizes. And there's some really cool stuff you can do with that. Anyone interested that asks me, ... So there's a little bit of stuff about the quantizer bank.